Is it true that Ron DeSantis has been going on a journey banning books, even books that about Black history, books about gender ideology, all type of books? Is it true that's what this man is guilty of?
I told you this was going to happen. Now it is illegal in the state of Florida to teach African American studies. Yes, it's against the law. Well, that's according to the administration of this fella, Governor Ron DeSantis.
A Florida school district has pulled 176 books from its libraries to comply with the new state education reform law championed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The latest to be pulled for review, a book about baseball legend Roberto Clemente. A passage in Roberto Clemente, Pride of the Pittsburgh Pirates, references the racism he faced in the U.S.
Under Florida's HB 1467 law, beginning this year, school books have to be reviewed by a media specialist to ensure they're free of pornography or certain race-based teachings. From kindergarten to third grade, the books must be free of instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity. The school district reminded educators violating parts of the law could lead teachers to be charged with a felony.
They've come for teachers over masks. They've come for teachers over books.
We want our school system to be about educating kids, not indoctrinating kids.
Sixth grader Jonas Walter fears one of his favorite books may be banned from the classroom.
Because there's a boy who likes a boy in the series.
Stephanie Jorgensen Walter is his mother.
I think what the legislation is doing is trying to stoke fear.
Now, if you were to make your decision simply based on how the news make it appear, or should I say the propaganda machine or the thinking machine make this matter appear, you will have believed that this man is guilty of some serious crimes, right? As a governor, until you do your research. So when you do a little bit of research, you find out the rest of the story, right? So the propaganda machine is really, really good at spinning the story. Now, this is Florida news who's gonna tell you somewhat of the facts, not the way they've spent it, but here is the truth.
We begin tonight with a book recently pulled from 3 Broward County public school libraries.
It's a guide to sex for teenagers. Some think it's too graphic, and in fact, we chose not to show you some of the images inside.
That should tell you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. The fact they don't even want to show you the images, and they want to make it seem like Ron DeSantis is just out banning books, when really that's not what's going on. These are pornographic images, sexually explicit contents that are in these books. Gender ideology. These are books that are indoctrinating children into gender ideology. These are books that are teaching children critical race theory as well, teaching them how to hate America. Critical race theory is a Marxist theology. So if you don't do your research, you will think the way these people are putting the news together, that Ron DeSantis is guilty of some serious crimes and should be behind bars for doing this. But that is not the case. Let's keep listening.
CBS 4's Larry Seward is in Davie with reactions.
At least one copy lived in Nova High School's library here, but when we asked around...
Have you seen that on the shelf?
No, not yet.
Students and parents seemed in the dark about Let's Talk About It, a book with some pages too graphic to show here, but published as a teen's guide to sex, relationships, and being a human. The group Moms for Liberty found it in 3 Broward County high schools, then nudged administrators to act. In an email, Chief Communications Officer John Sullivan says, quote, "The district received a complaint about the book and initiated a review of the material. While the book is under review, it will be removed from our schools," end quote.
Kids need to know about sex too.
Yeah, until you open the book. Look at her reaction when she opens the book.
Before seeing a single page, Mary Peraza, whose son is a freshman at Nova High School, sounded supportive of the author's mission.
I believe in educating kids in sexuality, because there's a lot of STD, so, they need to know.
But one click through the book.
Oh, that's horrible.
Changed her tune.
That's horrible. No, that's not good.
Yeah. You see, this is what they are not telling you when they're talking about gender ideology. This is a good way to put it. But what they are not telling you is the kind of stuff that these kids are talking about. I can't even say it. Friends, I can't even say it. I'm going to play a short video for you of a young boy who went on to explain this after this news right here. And also, we're going to listen to Ron DeSantis as well and some testimonies.
But, it's still graphic. You can educate them, but you don't have to show that.
All right, I want you to listen to this young boy, okay? 11-year-old, okay? 11-year-old. He's reading a disturbing book. This is one of the books that Ron DeSantis has removed. When these people are talking about books, they make it sound vague and not giving you the details. And you need to understand what these people are doing to children, okay? It's much deeper than that. It's much darker than that. It's filthy. It's garbage, okay? It is carnality, sexuality, sensuality. Is base passion, gender ideology, they call it, but really it's all about sex. Okay, now listen to this young boy talking. You don't have to believe me.
Hi, my name's Knox Zajac. I'm 11 years old and I go to Wyndham Middle School. I'm a 6th grader. I was in the library and this book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page. My back over my hips as I ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing. Again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired, or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both fucking terrified, and the whole thing was kind of terrible because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was good too, so good, because we were a mess of emotions and we were scared and excited and everything felt new. So this sort of feels like that. Nick touches me like he's scared that any minute. Now, this book was at my middle school and it was on a stand. When I rented it out to show my dad it, the librarian asked if I wanted more and if I wanted a graphic novel version.
Yep. These are the books. These are the books they're talking about, okay? So shouldn't the governor, Ron DeSantis, remove this stuff from children, from the eyes of kids? You really want children to be exposed to this? If you are one of those who believe that, you're sick. Now, here is the thing. Governor Ron DeSantis went completely on offense mode. This is a full conference, and the goal is to debunk the banned book hoax. He's saying this is a hoax, this is a lie, it's a deception. And in this conference, he explains a number of things. The first thing I want to talk about is, I'm going to put a link to this in the description of this video. This is beautiful to listen to. You need to listen to the entire thing because he listen, man, he put the nail in a sure place and he exposed the propaganda. Now, the first person we're going to listen to, her name is Julie. So we're going to move over to 32 minutes in. Listen to Julie's take about what's happening in these books and what she has discovered herself.
Great job. Thanks so much, Tia. Okay, Julie, come on up.
Well, good morning. It's an honor to be here. And I have a heightened appreciation for the opportunity to speak in a setting where I don't believe my mic will be turned off. My name is Julie Gebhardt, and I'm a mother to 6, and I have been one of those parents making regular visits to the school board. It's just a block away from here in Hillsborough County. So 3 years ago, as a parent with 4 kids in public schools, I had my head in the sand. I just would have never believed it until I saw it. My 15-year-old daughter came home from school and asked me to buy a book for her English class. No one could have prepared me for the review that I found online. Quote, graphic detail is given about the incestuous rape of an 11-year-old. The book graphically discusses prostitution, incest, rape, pornography, pedophilia, nudity, bestiality, and sodomy.
Are you listening to this? Are you listening to this? This is the rest of the story. This is what they're not telling most of us.
End quote. But it actually doesn't end there. There was more. But I don't want to say it here. After I read this review, as you can imagine, a million questions came into my mind. Like, who put this material in the schools and why would they do that? I began to dig and dig, and what I found was a profoundly deep cesspool of filth. Now I have a growing list just here in Hillsborough County with over 300 books, book titles, with over 10,000 volumes just here in Hillsborough County, and that's only my personal research. There's bound to be way more. Sadly, Florida school libraries are filled with pornographic landmines. The more I dug, the worse it got. Week after week, I found myself saying, I just found the worst book yet. But lo and behold, descriptive sadomasochistic sex in the book Identical by Ellen Hopkins was not actually the worst. Incidentally, we have over 400 of her books in our libraries, all with the same themes: glamorizing drugs, sex, self-harm, and suicidal ideation. Glamorized.
Crazy. And you're going to get mad at the governor for doing his job, trying to save the mind of these children from this corruption. This is crazy. This is what you're teaching your children. And you want to get mad at the governor. You're kidding.
Can it get worse than this? How about a detailed description, multiple detailed descriptions of exceedingly violent, incestuous sexual assault by a mother and her father who raped her?
Wow. That is crazy. Did you hear?
Push by Sapphire. We have 10 copies here in Hillsborough County. I probably don't need to mention Genderqueer. I think everyone's familiar with that book, but of course we have that here too. Oh, and a graphic novel. You won't believe this. It depicts a satanic orgy. That is in Sumner High School right here in Hillsborough County.
You got to be kidding me. A satanic orgy. Mom and dad rape their own daughter. And they want to get mad at the governor and want to politicize the thing. This has nothing to do with politics. This is pure immorality and corruption. Okay? It's satanic. It is sexuality. It is carnality. You shouldn't be promoting this to children. And you want to blame Governor Ron DeSantis for doing the right thing. Come on now.
Volumes 1 and 2. Finally, I end on the book titled This Book is Gay, which contains detailed instructions for oral sex and every other type. This book destigmatizes pedophilia in the chapter titled The Ins and Outs of Gay Sex. The book even contains 5 steps for using a sex hookup app, telling kids that, quote, the benefits are obvious, quick, easy, and uncomplicated sex, end quote. It is in a middle school library here in
this sex hookup app, I think it's called Grindr or something like that. That's an adult app. Why are you telling kids how to use an adult app? You got to be 18 years old to even use that in the first place. They're giving tips on how to use the app. So they're expecting children to go there. Why? Why do you think? These people are sick, man.
In town. In fact, just 2 days ago, I learned that the appeal to my original book challenge went to a district-wide committee, and that committee had head media specialists, both head media specialists of Hillsborough County, and all kinds of school district leaders with titles here in Hillsborough County. That committee came to the same conclusion as the school committee, which was to keep This Book is Gay in the middle school. Clearly, we need a strong, fearless leader to take a stand against the ideologues and hold them accountable. We must have legislation without loopholes. There are some bad actors in our schools who will try to exploit every little loophole. And it is simply not fair to hastily slap on the book banner label. For heaven's sake, huge book retailers and public libraries everywhere are proactively filling end caps with these banned books, available to anyone. How ironic. It is simply a lie to say these books are being banned. Like every school in America is banning Playboy, right? Let's hope so. This is about discretion. Schools should not be able to approve harmful literature. This is educational malpractice.
So this is what's going on, friends. And I love this. A link is in the description below. You need to check it out because there's more to the entire thing. And I don't have time to get into all of that. I want to hear a few more things from Ron DeSantis himself. But do you remember when the Vice President Kamala Harris was asked the question about the book banning? And the way the question was formulated by NBC news host, listen carefully to what she asked her, and also listen to her answer. Pay attention to the deception, okay? Watch this.
To people. Let me ask you, what does Governor Ron DeSantis not know about Black history and the Black experience when he says that slavery and the aftermath of slavery should not be taught to Florida school children?
I don't know what he knows and what he doesn't know, but I know this. Any push to censor America's teachers and tell them what they should be teaching in the best interest of our children in partnership with the parents of America is, I think, wrong-headed. The people who know our children best are their parents and their teachers in terms of the time they spend and the investment they've placed in the brains and capacity of our children who are our nation's future. And it should not be some politician saying what should be taught in our classrooms.
She didn't even challenge anything. She just answered a question that was set up in such a deceitful manner. And I'm sure she was very much aware. But the thing is, now we're going to listen to Ron DeSantis, okay? But the thing is, Ron DeSantis went after NBC for that one, and they ended up apologizing for this. So,
a postscript. In my interview last Friday with Vice President Harris, I was imprecise in summarizing Governor DeSantis' position about teaching slavery in schools. Governor DeSantis is not opposed to teaching the fact of slavery in schools, but he has opposed the teaching of an African-American studies curriculum, as well as the use of some authors and source materials that historians and teachers say makes it all but impossible for students to understand the broader historic and political context behind slavery and its aftermath in the years since.
Good. I hope you learned a lesson. But they knew that that's not what it was at all. So they knew that they were deceiving people. Governor Ron DeSantis, 4 minutes into that press conference, is explaining to you what the goal and ideology that he's going after. Okay, now let's take a listen.
Even when you're talking about 12, 13-year-olds, to see some of that stuff in there, I think most parents would say absolutely not. You know, parents can have those discussions when they think it's appropriate with their kid, but to have that is wrong. And we've been very clear about that and how we're gonna handle that. You've also heard some things about the ability or the availability of African American history in Florida, and this grew out of there was a proposed course that the College Board was sending to different states. It hadn't even been approved yet, and they were soliciting feedback, so it was still in the experimental stages. But our Department of Education said this is rejected. It clearly goes against our standards about opposing ideological indoctrination. And so we identified the reasons why. So you just tell me whether you think this is something that is appropriate for an African American history course. So they had a thing about queer studies, right? They put that in this course. And this is the quote from one of the readings there, quote, "We have to encourage and develop practices whereby queerness isn't surrender to the status quo of race, class, gender, and sexuality. It means building forms of queerness that reject the given realities of the government and the market." And I'm just thinking to myself, you know, why aren't we talking about Frederick Douglass? You know, why aren't we talking about things that I think can really matter? And so you had a whole bunch of other things. A lot of this was informed by, I would say neo-Marxism. Heavy ideological bent. And so that clearly is not something, that we're going to do. But what they would say then is because this ideologically driven course was not something that met our standards, that somehow Florida prohibited teaching anything about black history. And that is not only not true, Florida law does the opposite. We require that. All the aspects from the colonies all the way to the present. And
they don't tell us that one, did they? They want to make it look like this is a racist move. This is a hating black people kind of thing. No, no, no. They are using genderqueer theology, so let's say theory, so that they can, under the notion of black history, they are teaching CRT, critical race theory, which is a Marxist theory in itself. It is a Marxist thing. It's all about the oppressed and the oppressor. It's all about classism. And now they are aligning it up between blacks and white privilege, and the blacks that are underprivileged. And they are doing this to divide the country. Okay, it's a very powerful tool. And they want to call it black history. That's not black history. That is not black history. And also black history and queer theory are not exactly. This is not to say there were not blacks in history who were homosexuals or LGBT, as you will say. But if you're going to talk about black history, you cannot focus on a small group of blacks that were just homosexuals and call that our history. That is not what our history is. Talk about blacks who've done it. Talk about successful men. And I totally agree with Mr. Ron DeSantis on that one.
These reports, and we were cataloging them in real time, and you see them even on national television. You know, they will say things like, Florida does not want students to know that there was slavery in the United States, which is just an absolute lie. And are they not doing the 2 minutes of research to go? I mean, you can go on our Department of Education website. They list all this stuff out. Or is it just, you know, the narrative is too good to check and they just want to go ahead and do it? Yeah, they know guys like me will come by and debunk that, and a lot of people will then look and see, okay, well, if it's in Florida law, why is MSNBC or somebody saying this? And some people will then say, yeah, you can't trust them, but very few people trust these people anyways now as it is. And so I think they're preaching to the choir, trying to just get it to take hold amongst a small segment. Then basically they think that mission will have been accomplished. But we're going to fight back. And so they were able to survey all the districts. And, you know, I think a lot of districts never had any problem, right? I mean, I think, but some did. 87% of the books that were identified as school districts as being problematic, they were pornographic, violent, or inappropriate for the grade level in some other manner. That's 87%. That's the bare minimum.
That's crazy. What else do you want to hear? You can't get mad at the man. 87%. That is crazy.
And then there was a single school district that had 19 books that had violated the standards, but 94% of those books were removed from media centers. They weren't even in the classroom libraries, which is a good thing to do. And so there have been 23 districts that have had violations, mostly involving pornographic material. But we, the Department of Education, went to, I think it was Duval County, said, hey, wait a minute. You have a beef with Hank Aaron or Roberto Clemente. Where are you getting this? Why can't we learn about that? Where in our law does it say? And of course, they didn't have an answer. I said, no. We're not taking Hank Aaron out. We're not taking Roberto Clemente out. And, you know, look, if our kids only learned about Roberto Clemente and Hank Aaron, I think they'd probably do okay if you just studied their lives. So that's a hoax. That's a false narrative that they're trying to do.
I think Ron DeSantis is doing what is right. Somebody can get upset all they want. I don't disagree with the man. This is exactly what it takes to be a governor, to lead your country, to lead your state, and do the right thing, especially when you live in a time today when doing the right thing is make you look like you're a bigot, you're a bad person, you're a fascist, and so on. You get all these names. No, just do what is right. And I love the courage and the boldness, the firmness and the zeal of this man. He is not moved by the woke ideology. He's not moved by the cancel culture. He's not moved by them. He is just going forward. And I will say, be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God He it is that though of gold be with you, he will not fail you nor forsake you. If you're gonna lead a country, a nation, a state, a people, you need to be strong and you need to have courage, and you cannot be afraid of them. They're gonna try to use fear to push you against a wall, to coward you. No, stand for what is right, especially when you know in your conviction the Lord is on your side. And I think Governor Ron DeSantis is doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing as a governor. I appreciate his courage. I appreciate his boldness. I love that about him. He's not afraid. He's going after the woke mob, and he is aiming. He's aiming for the bullseyes, and he's causing serious trouble in the camp. Praise God for that. That gets me excited. Make sure you comment below. Share your thought and perspective with me. I have the link to the original video. You need to listen to the entire thing. The entire thing was beautiful. Beautiful. And well done debunking. Going on offense. Listen, Republicans, you can learn something from Ron because he is not playing this game. He's not sitting here trying to defend himself against the wall. No. He goes on offense mode, and expose the reality of things. And I love that about him. All right, friends, thank you for listening once again. Until next time, and as always, remember to look unto Jesus and to live by faith. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.